there, welcome to my channel. This is one of a few channels I have. I'll link the others down below. I have one that's more of kind of a home lifestyle channel and also one that's more of a book channel if you're interested in either of those things. But today we'll be talking beauty. So I thought I'd kick us off with a little empties. I'm just doing perfume because I have been collecting my empties for a few months, but there's so many perfumes that I felt like they probably needed their own video, and then I'll do some more of like the body and makeup and other empties that I've got in another maybe month or so, we'll see. But yeah, I have so many perfume empties that I thought I would kick us off with that. I'm actually hoping to start a perfume project pan soon. That might be the next video that's up on this channel, so if you're interested in project panning and perfume and those kind of things, yeah, feel free to stick around, but we'll get started with what I finished recently. So I can't promise I'll remember all of these perfumes in massive detail to be able to kind of talk about the notes and stuff, but I do remember if I like stuff or don't like stuff. I have quite a lot of perfume. I like to get as many kind of discovery sets and gift sets as I can. I just love trying out different perfumes, but I very rarely buy a full bottle. So a lot of them are kind of like sample sizes, and you'll see there's some that I like, some that I don't like. The ones that I don't like I tend to just use as room spray, so I'll point those out as I go. If I don't like it, I've probably just used it up as a room spray. So first we have one from Florist London called Serena. So I actually went to Florist London and did like a make your own perfume course. I think it was October last year, about a year ago, and it was great. I'd never heard of the brand before, but they were excellent. It's a British perfume brand, absolutely steeped in heritage. They did like Winston Churchill's fragrances, loads of Royals fragrances, like very, I think it was around 1889 they were established, so a lot of real like heritage fragrances, but they gave us a lot of samples while we were there as well. So the first one I have is Serena. This was probably my favorite of their fragrances that I got a sample of. Very kind of white floral and green, which is definitely like a family of fragrances that I love, so big fan of that one. Quite similar fragrance family, but this one was from Penhaligon's. This is Juniper Sling. This is probably my favorite Penhaligon's scent that I've tried, actually. Again, like very obviously juniper being kind of berries, a lot of white florals and green stems as well. So yeah, I liked this one quite a lot. Next we have Cherry Blossom, also from Florist. I do love cherry blossom notes. But this, and I should have the Intense in here somewhere, a little bit one note because they are just pure cherry blossom. I would probably just choose the L'Occitane one over Florist. I didn't feel like they were, it's not a long lasting note anyway, so not worth the money of kind of paying more for a kind of more expensive brand for cherry blossom, I don't think. We have Dias & Durga Rose Atlantic. This one I used up as a room spray. I'm not a massive rose fragrance fan. This was kind of wearable-ish, but not one that I would buy a full bottle of, certainly. But if you like rose and you like kind of modern takes on rose, this might be one for you. We have a couple more Florist ones. So yeah, I've got Cherry Blossom Intense, which is just a slightly stronger version of Cherry Blossom. I liked this one slightly more. It was slightly kind of creamier and a little bit longer lasting, but as I say, still wouldn't buy a Cherry Blossom fragrance full bottle. And then we had Jermyn Street, which on the notes really sounds like it would be one for me. Top notes are bergamot, mandarin, vetiver and violet. Heart notes coriander, vetiver, armoise and juniper. And then base notes of amber, cedar and musk. But it came off really masculine. All I get is musk, to be honest. I personally find musk just overpowers everything for me, so wasn't a massive fan of this one. I think I used this one up as a home fragrance. I'm starting with all the little samples in case you can't tell. We do have some bigger ones in here. Next we have Marlin & Gert's Vetiver. This one I used up as a home fragrance. Really nice creamy vetiver. Big fan of this actually, and would definitely, I loved it as a home fragrance, but Sam actually really liked it and was interested in it as an actual aftershave, so it may be one that he ends up getting hold of as well. We have Spice Bergamot from Marks & Spencer's. This one surprised me. I actually wore this mixed with Debaser from Dias and Durga, and I thought that there was something in this that I didn't like, and that I could kind of distinguish the two fragrances, and I thought it was this one that I didn't like, but it's actually the opposite. I don't like Debaser, and this was really lovely. So yeah, definitely one that I would buy the full bottle of at Marks and Spencer's, because they're really affordable. They're great travel fragrances. So yeah, I was really happy to have found that one. Next we have Lost Cause from Fleur. Unfortunately, a lot of my Fleur samples, the spray just quit working before I could even really enjoy the fragrance. As you can see, this one's completely full. But I love Fleur. I love pretty much all of their fragrances. I had a full discovery set from them. I don't think there was a single one that I didn't like. Yeah, I like Lost Cause, so I probably would get a few of the Fleur ones in full bottle, but somewhere in here, oh, here is Apricot Privé. This is probably my favourite one from them, just because it's slightly interesting. It's got slightly different notes to other things that I own, whereas a lot of the Fleur ones are very similar to things that I own full bottles of already. So yeah, if I was going to get a full bottle of anything, I would probably get Apricot Privé. Next couple, both Floral Street. So we have Sunflower Pop and Arizona Bloom. I really like Sunflower Pop. It's probably one of my faves from them. I have here as well. Wonderland Peony is probably my favourite, although it does give me sort of like high school body spray vibes, but I kind of like having something like that in my collection if I just want something really wearable. Then probably followed by Sunflower Pop. Arizona Bloom I'm not a massive fan of. There's some note in there that just is like, it's exactly the same as what I didn't like in Debaser actually. It's like a really cloying, quite dry, and kind of bitter note to me, and Arizona Bloom and Debaser both have it in, and it just isn't my fave. So yeah, definitely loved Sunflower Pop and Wonderland Peony. Not sure I'd bother full bottles with either of them, but Wonderland Peony, maybe like a larger sample size would be quite nice just to have in the collection. And then the other Florist London one that I really enjoyed was Platinum 22. Very similar. I love that it's called Platinum because there is kind of a silvery quality to it. It's quite iridescent, it's quite shimmery, and just very kind of, yeah, white florals, but with like a soft sort of shimmery note over the top of it. I can't remember what the notes were for this one, but I'll put them somewhere on the screen. I'll probably link all of the Fragrantica lists of anything that I really liked down below, if you're interested. But yeah, it was definitely that one and Serena were two that I would consider full bottles from Floris. We also have Golden Amber from Floris. Does what it says on the tin. It's just a straight up amber fragrance. Nothing special about it. Slightly medicinal. I love amber, but I don't think it's exciting enough to kind of hold its own just as its own fragrance. So yeah, liked it, but probably wouldn't buy it on its own. Okay, next we have some kind of slightly larger samples. I've got Nest Madagascar Vanilla. Yeah, so I have two of these. I have like a very tiny baby sample that I must have got in a kit at some point, and then I picked up the slightly larger kind of travel size when I was in Florida from Sephora. I love these. I would love to have a bottle of this in my collection at all times. I'm a big vanilla girl, and I really enjoyed this kind of form of it. It's great for mixing as well as an oil. Love to wear it like, yeah, with basically anything else that was anything that kind of leaned slightly more masculine. I just find these really pull it back, but it's not too like on the nose ice cream vanilla, so you don't just smell like vanilla, you just more so smell like warm, and it really rounds other fragrances out. So big fan of these. Don't know that I would pay full price for a full bottle, but yeah, if I can have it in my collection in any slightly more cost efficient way, then I'd certainly do it. We have Byredo Mojave Ghost. I love this fragrance. Would love it to be like my actual signature fragrance. It's everything I love in a fragrance. It's clean, it's fresh, it's slightly aquatic. I think it's like violet iris, bergamot maybe, and kind of amber or something. However, it lasts like no time on me at all. So as much as, yeah, if I won the lottery, I would buy a full bottle of it and I would use it 4 times a day so that I always smell amazing. I probably would never buy a full bottle just because it just does not last on me. which I actually experience quite a lot, to be honest, with fragrances, but yeah, it's not worth it for the price, that's for sure. Next we have Myth from Elise Brooklyn, or Alice Brooklyn, however you pronounce it. I hated this. Same kind of like cloying, bitter note that I just really cannot stand. It's either like patchouli, some forms of vetiver, that kind of thing. I used this as a room spray, but even that, it was like sickly to me. So yeah, not a fan of this one at all, although I love a lot of the Elise Brooklyn fragrances. Okay, we're getting through these pretty quickly, that's good. I have one that I never finished. This is an aromatherapies oil. This was in collaboration with Liberty London, and this one's called Clear Mind. I'm just not a fan of this kind of aromatic scent. I tried using it in a few different ways, although it doesn't look it. I tried mixing it. I can't use it as a spray, a room spray, because it's an oil, so it would damage fabrics and stuff. But yeah, I just could never find a way that I enjoyed this. So okay, so next few are kind of larger travel sizes. We have Juliet Has a Gun. This is not a perfume. I don't love this kind of fragrance. They're just like, this is like a pure ISOE super aldehydic pheromone fragrance, as some people refer to it. I just think that Juliet Has a Gun charges an exorbitant amount for that kind of fragrance. They're quite simple, they're quite one note. I feel the same about all of their fragrances, even the ones that kind of have other notes in. My mum loves this one, however, so yeah, I love it as bed spray as well, but it quite often pulls quite masculine on me too, so don't love this for that reason, and I just think there's better ones, one of which I'll talk about in a second actually. Yeah, not a fave, but nice for a room spray. We have Eau d'Essence from Diptyque. This one is not normally something I would wear, but it definitely grew on me. This was something that I used up mostly on holiday. I kind of go outside of my comfort zone a little bit on holiday when I'm taking fragrances, and this was quite nice. It's like peppery, which I do love, kind of aromatic, dry woods, a little bit of citrus in there. Yeah, I quite liked this as a holiday fragrance. Really kind of suited like Madeira, Sicily, like kind of hot but dry places. This felt quite right. So yeah, not one that I would rebuy necessarily, but I actually really enjoyed using it while I had it. And then an kind of aldehydic, like ISOE super type fragrance, Your Skin But Better fragrance that I much prefer to Juliet Has a Gun is Glossier You. So yeah, I actually really like this one. I find it a bit lighter, a bit more feminine. A little bit, yeah, it doesn't pull so masculine on me, and it just feels like it has some kind of more florals in there to actually make it slightly more exciting. Pulls more like watery white florals rather than like links, which I find some ISOE super kind of fragrances pull on me. So yeah, big fan of this one actually. Again, like wouldn't necessarily buy a bottle, although it is, I think, a slightly better price off the top of my head than Juliet Has a Gun. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily jump at buying this, but would like it in my fragrance collection. Okay, we're on to, final kind of sample one. This was actually just a home fragrance, or I only used it as a home fragrance at least. It's the Temple Spa Quietude Chill Out and Sleep Well Mist. Just your classic, that kind of aromatic fragrance that I was saying that I don't really like, but it was nice enough as a sleep mist, or a room mist that I used kind of before bedtime. And it was a little bit lighter than like the Liberty one, for example. It has a little bit more freshness to it, which I prefer. So yeah, definitely didn't dislike this one. And then we have 4 full-size bottles just to round things out. So most of these, most of these I used up as home fragrances. So we have Sea Salt and Neroli from Marks and Spencer. This one I do like, but it does have a little bit of that kind of bitterness, sickliness that I was talking about with some of the other fragrances. But yeah, it's very much just simple, very salty, with a bit of kind of warmness and roundness from the neroli. And and I do really like it. It's not massively feminine, very kind of middle of the road, I'd say, quite unisex. Doesn't pull too masculine on me though, and I really liked it as a room spray actually, so it just gave that kind of like sort of like a beachy room spray, I would say, like a Cornwall room, let's call it. But yeah, I liked it, and these are such a great price. I think they're £6 for 30ml, so really good to kind of try out different notes and different fragrances if you're looking for a bit of experimentation. Next we have Dream Moon from Pacifica. This pulls very, like, there's kind of a whole group of fragrances that just smell like Baccarat Rouge to me. This smells like Baccarat Rouge to me, even though it's not quite the same. It's not really similar in terms of notes at all, actually. But it's got that kind of like spun sugar, like really burnt sugar kind of top that I find that Baccarat Rouge has as well. This grew on me actually. I really didn't love it when I first smelled it, but actually, yeah, it kind of grew on me over time. But yeah, not one that I would necessarily buy again, but still one that I enjoyed kind of using up and having around. Next we have the bougiest one that I've ever used up as a room spray. This is Marlin & Goetz Leather, which I didn't love in the beginning, but again, it is much nicer once you've sprayed it. It loses some of its leatheriness. Weirdly enough, the leather is kind of like the top note, and then it settles into something more warm, cozy, and clean. So actually it was great as a room spray. It didn't pull too like tobacco lounge, really smoky, dry leather. It was quite like a hydrated, like well kept leather, I would say. Yeah, so I actually quite liked this. Didn't pull too aromatic or like animalic. It was much more soft and kind of cozy once you'd sprayed it. And then finally, last but not least, I know we don't talk about Target these days, I think, but this is a Finery fragrance that I picked up in Florida about April last year, and this is their, not their Baccarat dupe, this is their dupe of Billie Eilish, I believe, called Sweet on the Outside. Chocolatey, caramelly, very like simple fragrance, but just really easy to wear when you fancy something like a bit girlier and a bit kind of gourmandier. And I actually really liked this. Used this up as a full bottle of actual perfume. Very easy to wear, very kind of fun to wear. Yeah, nothing too heavy and nothing too complex, so nice one to have in the collection. And that is everything. That was all of my fragrance empties. Like I said, I think I have a couple more ones that I had as home fragrances. I've got some candles and some body care and stuff that I could do an empties on, but I also am close to finishing up a few products, so I think I'll give it a bit more time. I won't split them up in the future, I'll just combine them, but just do them whenever I feel like I've got enough to talk about, kind of thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll link as much as I can down below, and thank you so much for spending some time with me.